Hey there guys, I'm SonicGhost and welcome to another challenge. Today we got ourselves a follow-up challenge to our previous one here in Splatoon 3. Last time around here on the challenge series, I played through a tournament test run challenge here in Splatoon 3. And today, we're going to be tackling the sequel to that said challenge. So, let's take it away here, everyone, in the news. We're playing the Tournament Qualifier for Japan in today's video. This is right at the top of the hour with our one and only rotation from 6 to 8 in the morning here in the States. But this was also happening during extra work during the Sizzle Season 2024 here in Splatoon. So, if you wanted to play either a challenge or a special event over in Grisco, well, you had your choice of things this time around. Although, if I'm waking up at 6 in the morning to play me some Splatoon, I'm definitely doing the said challenge that's available at 6 in the morning. So, without any further ado, let's jump into the lobby and play ourselves a Tournament Qualifier for Japan. Play your way into a tournament. This type of challenge is a qualifier for a tournament in the Japan region, but however, players who do not plan on participating in this tournament can still participate in this challenge, which includes people outside of the region. If you want to learn more about the challenge, Nintendo does provide you a link to a website showing upcoming tournaments that they will be hosting. So, this here is the follow-up to the Tournament Test Run Challenge held about 2 weeks prior at the time when this said challenge was airing in Splatoon 3. So, it's the exact same maps, the exact same mode. This time around though, now we're playing for something serious, because this time around, you want to play to get high up on that leaderboard to have a chance at entering this said tournament ran by Nintendo. And as you can tell, I'm playing the game, controller's not even in my hands, I mean it's turned off over here, not even actually on. So, just like with the tournament test run challenge, this was so early in the morning. I'm not wanting to wake people up in my house, and I'm barely functioning at this hour anyway, so no way I was able to do commentary while I'm playing. So we're post-commentarying this, talking over the said footage while it's going on, but since this is the same type of challenge as one we did last time around, even down to the maps and the mode, we're going to change this one up a little bit when it comes to the commentary. Since this is a tournament qualifier, we're going to be commentating this said challenge video like it's an actual Splatoon tournament. So if you want a feel of the competitive scene, we're going to give you the whole 9 yards in this video. Or at least I'm going to do my best as someone who watches Splatoon competitive stuff as more of a casual fan from a distance, not necessarily someone who's in the competitive scene. But jumping right into game number 1, our first game here, we're fighting an 1890 team, excuse me. They got a paintbrush, they got an Auto Shot Replica, Charcoal Decavitator, and the Neo Splashomatic. Well, we got ourselves a Heavy Splatling, Nautilus 79, Jet Squelcher, and the Order Slosher Replica. So this game, we're going to see a lot of Tri-Strikes from our side, from that said Slosher, and we're also going to see some from the opposing side as well. We also got to be careful of their said Order Shot having the Trizuka special, so that's going to be a very devastating special for everyone here on my side. So we're going to really want to pay attention to our surroundings. And immediately, right in the beginning, that said shot got out a good Trizuka. So immediately taking us down. We're coming right back into the game though. The opposing side has already gained points on the said point threshold. Want to get back in the action? Our Hydra Splatling is preparing a Booyah Bomb. So we got Booyah Bomb going in the mid, painting that said zone, and we also have an Ink Vac coming in to defend. But we also have some strikes coming in, so not the best time for the opposing side to use the strikes, or it could have been a really perfect opportunity to push the team back, because that Ink Vac is only going to suck things up in front of it. So if the strikes were thrown behind the Ink Vac user, that could have been very devastating. We got ourselves another Trizuka going down below, but guy doesn't really look like he's able to take full advantage of that said special, so he's now just using it to paint the area around him and the said zone. Got a paintbrush from a distance, want to try to take him out, but also be careful of the strikes coming in the mid. Paint that said zone and get it all covered up as much as you can, but be careful of the inkjet in the vicinity, as that Decavitator is using their said special to clear out the way. We got some more inkjets, or not inkjets, we got some more ink strikes coming in. Gotta be careful about those, but now the Decavitator has come down and decapitated us. So coming right back into the game, gonna jump back in. Being very careful where we land, so trying to jump more to where our base is in general. Got a Booyah Bomb coming in. Didn't really do too much for the zone. Kind of painted more of the area around us. Didn't see the bomb in that situation, but I got someone with my suction bomb, so that's a suction bomb trade if I've ever seen one. Jumping back in. Got some strikes. Jumped in right at the perfect time so we wouldn't get hit by that said strike. Gonna be careful here because people do have my number, as I did get marked by that said wave breaker, and sure enough, the charcoal decapitator took advantage of that. Put down a splash wall so it would be much harder to hit them, and took me out in the process. Jumping back in, want to stay up here on the top half of the ramen map because up here we have a much better vantage point compared to some of those other weapons we were fighting that don't have the best of range. So, gonna be careful jumping back in. We got some strikes over here on the ledge. Jump down, gonna climb up here as we got our special. Use that triple splash down right in the middle, take out an opponent, and clear out that zone, gaining back the control. From here, we're gonna be pushing in. Myself and the Slosher are both going to be pushing into the enemy base, trying to take the opposing team out and keep them locked in here for as long as possible. Got that decapitator coming back in, putting down their splash wall, and we got the paintbrush up above, taking us out in that said process. Now they're using both an inkjet and a wave breaker, pushing out their specials, and now we got a third one in the mix with the said strikes. So at this point, they definitely got control of the mid zone, so we got to be careful. We got to push back in. Right now, both teams have a pretty hefty said penalty on their score, so no one's really able to get points for a while. Both teams have got to work down that penalty score before we can start seeing any change in lead. But we're only 2 points away between our side actually gaining points and the opposing side keeping their said lead. So right now, this game is very back and forth. We do see a decapitator coming in from down below, so we're going to focus our attention on that man, taking him out with a trade, which that's perfectly fine. Our team has now taken the lead, so there has been a lead change going into the final set here in set of points, and we also have 1 minute left on the clock. Pushing in, we got ourselves a paintbrush in their base area, and he's really the only one that's able to paint in, and sure enough, they painted the zone, causing control for a moment, but it wasn't long enough to take the game. Game 1 goes to yours truly. Hope you're liking the said commentary style for this, because if you're watching any kind of competitive tournament, whether it go for this game or other games, for example, say like a fighting game, it's going to be very fast-paced, very energetic, and there's going to be a lot of terms thrown your way real fast, because there's a lot of stuff going on in any kind of competitive scene. But that is game number 1 in the books. So, I do want to mention that we have the downtime. We're going to be playing one extra game for the said challenge, just like we do with the tournament test run challenge, because since this is the only time slot available, the 6 to 8 in the morning time slot, I'm playing until I get a shout-out token, so we're going to be playing our 5 qualifying games so we can get our said challenge points, and then from there, I'm playing until I get the token, and we'll have one extra game at the very end so that we can get that said token on camera. But at this point, we'll just continue using the Nautilus 79. It did me well there for game number 1, so taking it into game number 2. Alright, here we go. Game number 2 is at Manta Maria. This is a 2 splat zone map, so you have to have both zones in control to gain any points. We're fighting a 2040 team, excuse me. We got a Sploosh-O-Matic, the Nautilus once again, Dark Tetradualies, and 52 Gal Deco, while the other side has the Order Slosher replica, the Hero Shot replica, the Order Roller replica, and the Splatana Stamper. So just like last game, we're going to see a healthy combination between Tri-Strike and the Tri-Zuka special from the opposing side. But this time we also have the Big Bubble and a Zipcaster to worry about as well. Immediately in the beginning, my team was being overwhelmed, and we got 2 people jumping right in next to each other where I'm at, which is a little scary. That could have ended very poorly, but thankfully, only one of my 2 teammates got taken out, not both of them. At this point, we're going to take over the said zones here in the middle, but also take care of this roller while we're at it. Unfortunately, the roller has the upper hand there because I didn't have enough charge time, so the roller was able to take me out with one fling. Seeing there's a lot of commotion going on in mid, we're going to be swimming back in. Best not to jump in during all of that commotion because we can easily jump into an enemy's line of sight. But we got that set control of the zone, so now we're starting to get points. on the said board. It's not much of a score difference, so there should be a lead change happening pretty early on. Got ourselves a Stamper over here on the left using Zipcast. And this Zipcast has a better advantage in comparison to my said situation. So they're able to take me out by just using the Zipcaster itself. Coming back in, we don't want to jump in just like before. A little too much going on there in the center. And there's also only one teammate available in mid, so we don't want to jump when there's only one person there. It can lead to a very devastating situation. At this point, we're just trying to climb the wall. You know, as you do, walls are hard to climb. Dumping back, we're going to use our said splashdown, paint up one of the zones. And we do see on the left, there's both the Stamper and the Roller, but I'll let my teammates take care of that and climb up top to take care of the hero shot and attempt to take out the Slosher, but unfortunately, they got me before I can get to them. Using their said strikes, so they're going to take over one of the sides here. Looks like they mainly covered up the left side, but not enough to pause control of either zone. So at this point, we still have control of the map. The Stamper had a really good fall-off shot against me. Gotta give him credit for that. So they took me out, but at this point, all my team is over on the left side here, and it looks safe to jump in, so we will do just that. Got ourselves some action going on the right, so let's go ahead and help out my team. Keep that side painted, and let them take care of the rest. It's over here. I got the hero shot. Take them out in a trade, which that's perfectly fine. We got one zone gone, so at this point, the time is paused for our score, but the opposing side isn't really able to take over the right side. So we're taking over the left once again, and now the control is back in our favor, meaning that we're gaining points on the board. And we continue that said streak of points. Moving in now to our last 2 minutes. The opposing side doesn't have that much time before game is over. At this point, I'm going to keep on painting up the center wall here so we can use that to climb around and also to refill ink if we need to. And right here, we are sandwiched between 2 different ink strikes, so there's no getting out of that situation. Not enough time to super jump out for either to a teammate or back to base. So we'll just swim back in. A little too much commotion in mid, so we'll be better off just going back ourselves. Keep an eye on things over here near our spawn area, making sure that at this point, we keep control of both the zones, and sure enough, we got ourselves our second win in the books. That is game number 2 complete. Looked like almost near the end there could have been a pause in our set points, because zone number 2 there on the left has a healthy amount of ink from the opposing side, but it wasn't enough to pause the said timer. Kind of got lucky on that one, but it wouldn't have changed much because we would have just painted that zone immediately and got that said point threshold immediately taken down to 0. So I don't think that would have changed much, if anything. But that is game number 2. And at this point, just like with the tournament test run challenge, I used the Nautilus 79 to start, but now that I'm more warmed up, I want to change out my weapon to the other Nautilus here, the Nautilus 47. Mainly so I can use the Ink Storm here in Splat zones. It's really helpful for zones, so that is why I am picking old reliable Nautilus. And now that we're in the middle of games, I do want to mention that we're probably going to see some names here a couple different times throughout this set challenge, because this is in such a weird time zone, and specifically this challenge is more tailored for the Japanese market. So most of the people who are going to be playing this challenge are going to be from Japan. So the game is going to try to prioritize matchmaking with people in our region first, so we have a smaller pool of people to work with before the game has to start filling the slots with people from other regions. So we're going to be seeing some Japanese names in here, don't get me wrong, but if we're seeing any English-speaking names, we're probably going to be seeing a lot of the same names, because who's playing Splatoon 3 at 6 in the morning? Hey man, I do this for you guys. All for the content. Jumping in here, game number 3. We're back on the ramen map. We got ourselves a Hero Shot, Nautilus 47, Sploosh-O-Matic, and Splash Shot Jr. We got Dark Tetradooley, Squeezer, the Order Splatbrella Replica, and 52 Gal Deco. And that said Deco there is the same 52 Gal we had on our team from the previous game. So we're seeing that name here once again, as I was mentioning before. Jumping in though, that 52 gal immediately comes in, takes me out, and at this point we don't really have one other person left in this said game trying to push in on the opponent's side. But right now, that's not really helping much because the opponents are all over here, and we're getting overran in our base area. Trying to take out this Dark Tetra dually, and they're zooming all over the place, you know, as a dually player does. So it's really hard to aim on that said player. The Dark Tetra dually and the 52 Deco here are both doing a really good job at slaying. Pretty much every weapon on this team is a Slayer weapon outside of the Brella. And right now, it's really showing because it's either the 52 gal we're dealing with, or specifically now, the Tetra dualies, as they are pushing in, keeping that strong lead going into the first minute mark here. And it's really closing in, so we gotta get back in the mid and do something. So we're gonna throw down an Ink Storm, trying to paint up mid, but their strikes hitting the said mid section, covering up the zone, and the game is over in an instant. We never even got the zone once. That was a very fast game. It felt like some of the people on this team could have even been a coordinated set of people. Maybe 2 or even 3 of the people could have been in a voice call, for example, talking back and forth with each other. It's hard to say because I felt more coordinated than any of the other games that I played during this challenge. So yeah, I'll give them credit there. Good team. Hopefully we don't run into them again, right? I mean, what are the odds of us running into the exact same set of people right after playing them in a game? That'd be fine. There's no way that can happen, right? The odds are so low. Right? Right? I have a sneaking suspicion something's gonna happen. And we might as well wait out the queue time and hopefully get a new set of people on both sides and have a fresh start to game number 4. One thing that's kind of annoying playing this kind of a challenge is, like I said before, there's not as many people playing from this region, and it's more designed for a region we're not in. So there's less people playing this kind of challenge than any other challenges that we've shown on the channel. So queue times are a lot longer because of this alone. There's just less people to find per game. But mind you, it's kind of a challenge, more of an outlier challenge. This is more focused for that competitive scene to have a chance at even participating in an upcoming tournament held by Nintendo. And it's cool they do something like this in general, using that said challenge mode for a purpose that is just outside of Splatoon as a whole. This is more for external events as well. So, gotta give them props for having a challenge like this in the game in general. But going into game number 4 here, you may know some familiar names because guess who it is? All 4 of those weapons we just played against. These are the exact same players. I would normally say the odds of this is so low, let's go buy a lottery ticket, but there's not many people playing this challenge at this hour, so there's less people to match with, and it does show when you get a repeat team immediately. So yeah, hopefully we have a better game too. And right now, things are kind of rough because we're already getting pushed back into our base, and our teammates were all changing out who's alive and who's dead. So not a great start, doubly so with the wipeout, but this is a 2-zone map, so we can at least take one of the zones over, and by taking control even for a moment, at least pauses their timer. So we'll have to use that to our advantage here, because this is a tough team. Gotta throw down our Ink Storm, trying to cover up at least that right zone. We got 2 players from the opposing side just chilling on this right side, and I got 2 teammates jumping to me here, so we're gonna try to stay behind that wall for as long as we can to protect everyone. Trying to throw my point sensor over the wall to mark people. Unfortunately, it hit the wall, but if I was a little further back, that might have been able to actually reach. Take out the sprinkler here so they can't keep on painting the zone on the right. And at this point, we got control of both zones, so now we're starting to get points on the map. The other side already has 70 points, so it's going to be an uphill battle, but we're now at least in the fight to gain score. From this point, we got our special, so we're going to throw down another Ink Storm. And at this point in time, that was a bad move in hindsight because the squeezer was right on my tail, and there was nothing I could do about it because I didn't have a charge ready on my Nautilus, so they were able to take advantage of my opening. This time, we're not messing around. We got our Nautilus all charged up, and we're coming back in, but We got Trizuka aiming right at us and barely any wall to hide behind. We're lucky we didn't get killed by any of those interactions. But this interaction, we're not going to be as lucky. We got 3 different strikes sandwiching us in a really problematic spot. Not enough time to jump. We just have to accept our fate. That's all there is there. Jumping back in, we got to swim back over. Keep on hugging this right side for now. Not the best to stay in one side of the map for too long because it becomes predictable. But this is the only side right now that is actually safe to traverse back into. Definitely someone I already have other teammates over here trying to fight things out, but as we're seeing, not surviving for too long. And there is yet another wipe. So, gotta get back into the game once again. At least the opposing side has a pretty hefty penalty they have to work down before they even start gaining points and actually can knock us out, which, at the rate things are going, it could be a knockout or it could be a game that ends in time. We want to try to at least end this in time if we can't win, so let's keep on pushing. Jumping back in. We got ourselves some weapons over here. I think that was a squeezer we just saw, and sure enough, there is a squeezer. Try to do what we can over here, but just right now, we're going to have to play it a little more safe because we got our special. We're going to throw it in, try to paint that said right zone as fast as we can because we only have a few more points before the game is over. And unfortunately, at 1 point remaining, we may have took control for a moment to pause that timer, but then they wiped us out. GG's. Not surprised this is the outcome after how Game 3 was a steamroll, and it's the exact same team. As I said in the last game, it felt like at least maybe 2 of these people were talking to each other. It's hard to tell. Even if you're going the solo queue, you can still pair with each other if there's not many people playing the challenge, so who knows? There's just some really good coordination happening there, and they're just a solid team in general, so not surprised about the outcome, but you know what? If we're going to lose, at least it's to the same team that already beat us. So now we know that if we get paired with another team, higher chance of winning. And right now we have 2 wins, but 2 losses as well on the board. So 1 more game left to get our said challenge power. Hopefully this time around we don't get paired with the same team 3 times in a row. What are the odds of that one, right? Right? No, it's actually not happening this time. I hope. And we just have to find out and wait. At this point in time, just might as well just take that set controller though after that kind of a game and put it down for a moment. You don't need to always be practicing here in the lobby in between games. There are some moments that you need to take a breather, and that game is definitely one of them. And also remember, while getting this into a competitive scene, really trying your hardest, remember to stay hydrated, because very easy to forget to stay hydrated when you're just in pure focus mode. Good old water. And also make sure it's water. Don't have like a soda next to you or something when doing this, because that's just going to make your mouth dry and it'll make you feel uncomfortable. Just get like water or like a Gatorade or something. I wouldn't drink a sugary drink for this. It makes things worse. Trust me, I've tried streaming with sodas. Doesn't end well. Then you start burping all over the place too if you're talking to people. And it's just rude. And very annoying. Speaking of annoying, that's queue time. Let's go to game number 5. There's only so much dead air I can fill. But here we go. We finally got the game, so going into our final game here, game number 5. Or at least, final game to get our qualifying power. We got Hero Shot, End Zap, and the Mini Zinc Splatling. On the opposing side, we got the Octobrush Nouveau, Incline Tri-Stinger, not the Tri-Stinger Nouveau. I always think it's Nouveau for whatever reason. And Paradualies and Heavy Edit Splatling Nouveau. That one's a Nouveau. Get that one at least correct. So, jumping right in, we're already taking control of the zone. But control in the beginning doesn't matter too much if you can't hold on for it too long. And their end parries are going in, taking care of our opposing side as much as possible. But we're pushing back, and so far, this said push is not really doing it for this team because we already got control of the map back. Take out their jumps in the area. That's really all they got so far to paint this set side. Grab ourselves our Tacticooler, as with the NZAP 85, we'll have plenty of cooler output from our side. That is definitely one of the best weapons in the game to get Tacticooler, right next to, you know, the pencil. So, immediately just pushing in, already down half our points. Another 50 to go, and then we win the game. You saw someone down below jump back to base, so at this point, let's throw an Ink Storm into their base area, pressure them back a little bit, take out their end parry dualies, and unfortunately, I took them out the moment they clicked their stick to activate the triple splashdown. And I didn't really have any time to react to that one, unfortunately. Just swam straight into the fists. Jumping back in, unfortunately, really bad time to jump because someone threw a bomb to my jump point. I must have saw it before it started to get out of view because I have stealth jump on my gear. And stealth jump makes it so that you can't see where someone's jumping in unless you're close enough to where that player is going to jump on the map. Then it becomes more and more visible the closer you are to that set jump point. And that's probably what happened there. The person was close enough to my jump point, they actually saw it. Stealth jump isn't an invisibility perk. It is something that makes it less likely for someone to see you jumping in, but not permanently, if that makes sense. But right now, looks like we got a lead change, on the other side, and they're already pushing down the points pretty heavy, and they're in our base too, pushing us back. Commentator doesn't know how to commentate. Lord 11. But at this point, we're trying to at least contest the zone. We got another tactical on the map, so let's grab that. Take out these squid beacons so they don't have an easy access to get back into the map, but also it gets rid of the little point sensors essentially they have around the area because point sensor, well not point, it's very hard to commentate when you're in high energy mode. I don't know if you noticed. The squid beacons, they act like a point sensor, so if you're nearby a squid beacon, it will let players know of that said opposing side that there's someone nearby. So it basically acts like a point sensor when you're nearby one of those said things. So it's best to take out those beacons anytime you see them, not just to make sure players don't jump back in on the map, but also to make sure the opposing side doesn't know where you're at. But speaking of the opposing side, we are pushing them back, taking the lead at this point. So we want to keep that push up because we only have a few more points left to secure victory. But the opposing side is pushing hard. Heavy Edit, it's walking right in the zone, keeps on painting, but unfortunately gets taken out in the process. At this point, we'll trade back and forth on who has the control. Both sides have a hefty penalty, but if we stay in control of this zone long enough, we'll be able to get a KO. Likewise, if the opposing side takes the said zone over for long enough, then they will have enough time to knock out as well if they keep it for the rest of the game. So right now, we're going to push back the opposing side into their base. We see some people jumping out, but the said Tri-Stringer, they took me out with a nice shot. The Heavy Edit is right next to him at this point, trying to paint the zone as well. We see the Octobrush is laying down their little beacons everywhere, so they're very mobile at this point. We're going to just keep on painting around the midsection, take out anyone in our path, and continue that said spread. We got ourselves our Ink Storm. We want to throw it down to pressure them back and to help paint zone. At this point, move in to take advantage of the healing property that the Ink Storm has. Take out their Tri-Stringer. We got the Imperi Dually. Take them out next. At this point, wait for my teammates to jump in as we have some jumpers right behind me. Get on the said perch and keep an eye on who comes back from spawn. We do see the Tri-Stringer taking them out in the process. That's another one down. Imperi Dually moving in. But now we only have a few more points left on the board. So as long as we can hold the zone, that is game. So that makes for 2 losses, but 3 victories. Man, this feels like it's a very familiar setup. Not just because it's the exact same mode with the exact same maps. I mean the exact same win-to-loss rate. Man, it's like looking in a mirror because it's just like the last challenge. So I imagine this threshold of power is in the same spot as it was last time, so around the mid-1900 marks, maybe slightly higher, like 1960 or 1970. And sure enough, there it is at the 1960 mark, so this is a repeat from the last time. It's basically the exact same power, or as close to it as it can be. But that is it for our 5 games, so we have our challenge power, but since this is the only rotation available for this tournament qualifier, let's play one more game to secure that shellout token. So at this point, I've already won a couple more games, so I have only one more left needed to get that said token. So as you can imagine, we're gonna win this game. Kind of how you get the token. So for our final game, we're jumping in back to Manta Maria. And we got the Sploosh, the Nautilus 47 Optoshot replica, and Order Dually replica. We're fighting against the Flingza Roller, Tri-Slosher Nouveau, Custom Range Blaster, and the Well, I'm trying to see because the icon's a little grayed out, but I believe that's just the standard old Splattershot Jr. And sure enough, there it is. So, at this point, we're going to take out the Tri-Slosh, or at least try to, because they had a much better situation than I was expecting there. Nice flip off the wall and sloshing attack. Give him credit for that. Gonna swim right back in. Looks like there's some commotion going on the right side in the middle. We got ourselves a junior here in base. Very bold move to come into our base area, so let's take out their shield. And at this point, they retreated, so that's perfectly fine. Take out enough of the bubble so it just goes away while we leave. Now from here, we got ourselves control of both the zones, so we gotta continue that said push. Keep on painting it up. Got ourselves the range blaster over here on the right side. Get an assist. Thank you, teammate, for that help. There goes the custom range blaster. But now the opposing side is back in control. Right now, it's a very back and forth between the two sides, so trading points back and forth. We're going to be seeing a lot of lead changes here in the very beginning. Not going to really matter too much in the beginning. It's the later half that's really going to determine who's actually going to win this game or not. But right now, we got some people trying to jump in on the right side here, but they're having a hard time. It's a little bit of a 3v1 situation. You hate to see it. Got the Tri-Slosher coming up above here trying to attack. And they took us out in the process, but my teammate continues to attack. There you go. Got him. Just be careful of the Kraken, buddy. Oh, that's a little devastating, and I don't blame them for jumping out when they're cornered by a Kraken. I would do the same. Swimming back in. Charge up our Nautilus. Get ready to continue the fight. We got someone here in the said middle section. It looks like that was a custom range blaster. Got a second person retreating, so let's go ahead and chase them after. And sure enough, one more shot should do it. But we keep on missing that said opportunity, so they keep on refilling health. Someone else took them out. Well, that's fine by me. Keep on painting the surrounding area because we're just a shy bit away from our set special. Now with the Ink Storm, let's throw it out into the opponent's side and pressure them back. Because now we got that said lead once again. Pushing in. Take this Tri-Slosher because we got ourselves a storm. You can't run away from the weather. Keep on painting around here in mid. At this point, we have a pretty healthy push in because there's no one here. Everyone from the opposing side is now back at spawn, and they have to work their way back into the midsection here to even attempt to get any points. So, you know what? I'm going to join them over in their spawn at this point. If anyone tries to leave the base, I got it covered. So, jumping in, I'm just going to be chilling over here, looking out for any runners. And there's really nothing going on at this point in the game because everyone else is trying to jump back in to the midsection on the map, but as we can see by checking the map briefly, there's really not much going on, so it's a pretty simple ending to our run of the Tournament Qualifier Challenge. So there's our final win in the books. Not very much going on there in the very end of the game for us, but sometimes nothing going on is the best way to end the game. Instead of having a super big commotion and having a very, very scary push by the end that could easily result in a loss. Didn't happen here, so we take those. But that's our final game, so now with that, we'll get a little bit of extra power. And what we have here is our highest when we end, and that high score for me is a 2002. So it's only 3 points shy of what our tournament test run challenge was, so technically we did worse, but really, we did about the same when you really want to average it out. 3 points is nothing. So I'm fine with these results. So let's go ahead and trade out our shell out token and see what we get from this said roll. And we get ourselves a pack of stickers. I woke up 6 in the morning for stickers? Well, at least we can see where we stacked up in the end. And for our hard work, we got ourselves top 20%, which is where we stacked up for the tournament test run. So, you know what? That's pretty good average. We're just doing the same as we did last time, so at least we didn't get worse. That's the takeaway here. So that was the tournament qualifier. Very different from the last time we tried one of these challenges, as I tried a tournament qualifier about a year ago, but that tournament qualifier was for Turf War. If you want to see how that challenge went, then definitely check out that video, which you should be seeing on the end card, or link it down in the description below. But that is going to do it for these tournament featured challenges. So with that said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.